The manager's press conference, we were speaking outside. When the manager came out and said, like, it's the worst team in Man United's history, I don't know what type of reaction he's going to get from the change room there. That's the only worry, unless he's had a conversation prior to that with the players and said, listen, guys, I'm going to go out there. What you might hear when I come back in, don't let that distort what we've spoken about in here. It's not having any effect on here. I've just got to give them a line.
But he also said, fair play to him, he also said, yes, you have a manager who's lost more than the previous manager as well. So he's kind of like thrown himself in there as well a little bit. So it's not like he's just said, you guys are rubbish and that's it.
No, yeah. But at the same time, I think he's just letting people know that this team he's taken over are a bad bunch of players.
I think, I don't know, the quickest way to lose players is coming out with those comments. And you're right, if he must have said something in the change rooms, because usually you want a manager saying that in the changing rooms and you feel, do you know what, I can take that, and you build that relationship.
We'll get back to Rio and Saul in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And also, don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And if you've got something to say, if you disagree with anything that's been said in this clip, or this video for that matter, please put it in the comments. I read all of the comments. Well, in this video, Saul Campbell is making an appearance on Rio Ferdinand's podcast, on his show, and it's a really interesting conversation, really. They talk about a lot of things, so I would recommend checking out the full interview there. But this is just a little clip about Manchester United, because obviously this is the Manchester United fan channel, so I'm only going to be talking about Manchester United. And they make some really interesting points about all of the different things that's been going on at Manchester United over the past couple of weeks. So have a little look at that, and wait until after the clip, because I am going to be giving my thoughts on what those guys had to say. Anyway, here's Rio.
Saying that in the press it's so easy to say it in the press, and I think everybody in the press people want to know that you're unhappy and this and that, and I get that. But sometimes, I mean, there'll be players in United who are trying their best, and they're good guys and they're working hard. And I'm not saying everyone. You're always going to have a couple of bad bunches in any side, in any situation. But you could easily lose players when you kind of say those kind of things. You want to, at least find out who is who, really. Do you actually think he knows who's who? Yeah. So some people can say whatever to him and say, oh, this player's like this and this player's like that. But you see what relationship you have. I think that's the main thing, really.
You knew when a player walked into that change room, you knew within the first couple of weeks what you got. I think I was quite quick at working out he ain't going to be good for us.
But you said you got it wrong. You got it wrong with Vidic. You got it wrong with Evra.
No. In terms of like as the right people. Okay. I never doubted that Patrice or Vida were like bad people, or not good enough people, or weren't determined individuals. Yeah. Because I saw that immediately, it weren't going well for them, but they never down tools. They still grafted. So whether they're good enough ability-wise, but it's these moments, I think you need good, strong, solid people. Your best teams, you knew you could look to your right or left and go, that's a man. And if I need him to produce what he's good at in the right moments, he's going to be there and he's going to apply himself all through the week to make sure that he does that.
But do you think that's gone now? Like, generally?
I don't know. If you look at Liverpool...
It pops up every now... Yeah, it pops up every now and again and things like that. And that's how good teams start rolling and get the momentum and start winning year after year after year.
I think it's gone from United.
Well, look at Nottingham Forest. I went and watched them the other day at the City Ground against Liverpool, mate. And, mate, Elanga was on his knees at some point. Hudson-Odoi on his knee. Yeah. All the midfielders they've got, Anderson, the midfielders they got there, you're going like they're just running.
Yeah, Morello at the back as well.
Yeah, Morello at the back. Yeah. They're running. Everything they've got in their system is out on that pitch. And football fans will accept like a lower level of ability. He ain't good enough, really, but he grasps at me. They'll take that, and the best players have both.
Amorim mentioned something similar, Rio. Sorry to cut you. He was talking about how, yes, you might lose some, but it's the way you lose some. And he said one thing, he's not going to change. Do you think holding on to these principles is going to get him the sack eventually?
They brought him in for his principles. They brought him in for the way he coaches. They brought him in for his style. They brought him in for all of those things and more, obviously. So to expect him to come in just because of the players that he's got, who actually haven't produced for the previous manager, by the way. So is he going to soften his approach and change his approach for the players that got the last manager to sack as well?
Well, mate, but you're in.
Do you think he needs 2 seasons?
Yeah, you need time. I just think he needs to get to this next window, get busy, get some out through this window, get some out in the next window. Because the players, listen.
Do you think they have to cut deals to get people out the door?
Yeah, because the players are on massive money. They might have to loan 4 or 5 of the players because they can't sell them because other clubs ain't going to be able to pay them 250, 200 grand a week because they don't warrant that right now. So I just think that when you look at him, you can't ask. I don't think you can bring a manager in for what he's been good at and why you've highlighted him, and then go after a couple of months. You should change to adapt to these players who weren't actually good enough for the previous manager. Don't make sense.
Yeah,
get the rubbish out. And give him a couple of windows to do that and bring in and recruit the right players.
Do you think the sporting director is going to be important for that, though?
Yeah, hugely. Yeah. Recruitment has been, I think, the Achilles heel of Man United for the last 10, 15, whatever years. We've recruited poorly. I've said this many times and I'll say it again now. Actually, Ahmad can add to this now. Ahmad and Bruno, if anybody's been there for 2 years and above, are probably the only players that have actually improved. Right, or playing to the level that you know they can play to. I might have missed 1 or 2, I'm not sure, but I ain't missed 3 or 4, 5, 6.
When you say if you want to say improved, you can put Dalot in that conversation a little bit.
Dallow's improved, but like improved. Not to the level that I'm saying. Like Bruno has done numbers for a midfield in terms of like chances created, goals scored, assists. In the time he's been here, no player in the midfielder in the Premier League has done the numbers he's done. Right, so he's played at a level that is higher or what we expected. Ahmad is like, we came in as a wonder kid. We're seeing that now, right? Yeah. Everybody else is playing sub or below the expectation levels that we anticipated for them.
Do you think like United is just on a cycle that, they need to, complete this cycle? Because every club, generation cycles. Look at Liverpool. For a long time. But it does happen.
It does happen. But the difference is, especially with the way the infrastructure is with football, club cycles are usually shorter. Besides Italy, there's been a massive mess there because the big clubs have been able to shape themselves well since the 90s. So that's why you've got Real Madrid might suffer for a season, or Barcelona could have financial situations, but you can still see some winning success. Bayern Munich, all these clubs, they've been able to sustain their mega club status. It's actually worrying for me when I see Man United and I go, man, what is going on there? Not all the managers can be bad.
But I think Sol's right.
Or is it too much money? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
What he does, I've seen some people in the media saying, the manager needs to change and or he's actually might have to get rid of him. Like, what are you talking about? He needs time. And if you want him to change, then he weren't the right person. You've brought him for a reason. The way he coaches, the way his teams play, etc. You've seen something there. Let him apply that. And you can't expect that. Not everyone can apply their methods immediately. Some things take time, man. Yeah.
You've got, first of all, Onana's mistake. I got to bring it up. I don't know how you guys got rid of David De Gea, or maybe I've got short-term memory because I do remember it being a bit of amnesia.
But why did they get rid of him? I don't know.
It's because for me, I do banter and I call him biscuit wrists and stuff like that, Onana, because that kind of stuff is horrible.
Imagine being a player and you're hearing that.
I know.
No, well,
biscuit risk,
Yeah, but I'm sorry. You can't.
Is that something like? What do you mean? Like letters, like back in the days.
Yeah. Poppadom.
Because the reality is, when you see a ball come in there, that's a big error. You guys
I think he's a top keeper. I think it's confidence.
You say really is. Top keeper.
I didn't say
You just said top keeper.
Yeah.
He's not a top keeper.
Not many keepers win the gold like the best goalkeeper in Europe.
Doesn't matter. Some people have good seasons. We've had Michael Ricketts have good seasons. We've seen Kevin Phillips have good seasons. It doesn't mean
Ricketts is catching
nothing.
Strays like that.
No, I like Michael Ricketts.
Phillips is a bad player,
Bad player. I'm not saying he's rubbish, but
Kevin
we're
talking
top. No. Listen.
He's got goals.
You're just dismissing like big goal scorers.
He had the big season where he scored 30 goals in the Prem.
A few seasons he was banging.
No, but I'm talking about when he was.
He had one mad one, but he was still consistent.
And I rate him, by the way. I'm not saying, but you're talking about Onana here. You just said top goalkeeper. I'm sorry. I don't see him as being top good. Okay, I'll accept that. Really good shot stopper. But when I compare to David De Gea, when I compare to...
what kind of goalkeeper is he? He's not a top goalkeeper. What is he? Just good?
You tell me.
Just good?
You tell me. Not good recently.
I think he's had... he's had a couple of moments that you wouldn't want to see on your clips, I think. But I think then you look at the last game, he probably enabled us to win that game. People forget that. Ahmad got the hat-trick, but he actually made 2 unreal saves before that to actually keep us in the game. But goalkeepers live and die by big glaring mistakes. I think that's true. So he needs to cut them mistakes out if he wants to continue.
Really good guy, by the way. This is not a personal thing. I'm just talking about, and we have to be honest. I know it's difficult for you pros that have played, and you go, could someone say biscuit wrist? That's what I see. You know what I mean? But as a person, I'm sure he's a great guy. You've got Anthony, Rashford, Malacia. They're all going this month.
Yeah.
They're definitely going.
I think Anthony's going. I think someone said to me Real Betis or something like that. I think get them out, man. Sorry, no, I'm just being honest. Like the more them type of guys are around, where there's just a bad noise, they all want to go. They're all happy to go. Let's just get them out. Let's start afresh. Give the manager, because you know it's like if there's people that are unsettled and they're in there and it's not going to plan and they're not happy.
Well, they spread it.
It's like a cancerous kind of bad energy, and it moves around.
Not spread. It's like, I think if you're in there and someone is not playing or just about to go, and you got training, you got the locker room, all that kind of stuff. You know, the conversation's going on. You just
morbid,
you don't need it. You don't need it.
They're trudging out like this, not really on it.
You want to have it.
And everyone's looking over and going like, especially when you're not doing well. It'd have been all right at Arsenal when they were flying. It'd have been all right at United when we were flying, because them guys just get left. Nah. Also,
I mean, there is a lot to cover there. I mean, Sol makes some good gives some good insight. Rio gives some good insight. I think the general gist or the general takeaway from Manchester United at the moment is that the circus is in town. There's a lot of clowns in that team and surrounding that team, and there's a lot of people who are just, I don't know, it's just crazy world at the moment. With regards to Amorim saying what he said, saying that's the worst team in Manchester United's history, well, I mean, it's been covered really. Should he have said it? Should he have not? People have different opinions, but Sol makes an excellent point there. He says, like, if a manager says that, he's in danger of losing the dressing room, and that's the last thing Amorim needs, because things can always be worse. You don't want to be making it worse for yourself if you don't have to. So it just makes you think, I mean, is it a good thing that he said that? I mean, Amorim has come out and said that it was a mistake and that perhaps he was just a little bit too upset going into that press conference when he said it, because he'd just come out of the dressing room where he cussed everyone out and he smashed the TV, and so his blood was boiling and the adrenaline was up. So he's told them in that dressing room probably that they are the worst Manchester United team of all time, or something like that, or words to that effect. My natural instincts would suggest that him saying that is a bad thing. However, in the long term, it might be a good thing, because who are the people that are going to be listening to that outside of the fans and the journalists and whatnot? It's the players and the board. Now, the board are going to take a practical assessment of the situation, and they're going to understand that these players haven't performed consistently for the past however many years. And they've thrown, a large portion of them have thrown about 3 managers under the bus eventually. And they've just hired their man. This is their man, Amorim. This is Ineos's guy. So it would look really bad on Ineos if they were to sack Amorim. So one would hope that Ineos would take the long-term approach, stick with their manager, and cut away the dead weight of that squad. And to be fair, it looks like that's what's happening now, because Rashford's on his way out, Anthony's going to Betis, and Malacia's going to Betis, it seems. Casemiro looks like he's going to go to Roma or wherever, Saudi. But, that's going to be, a few £100,000 per week off the books there, hopefully. Who else is potentially on the way? I'm not sure, and they're bringing in players. I mean, I've said before, the players that they brought in, I think, have been good so far. Good, minimum. I think Xerxes has improved over the past few weeks. Delik's looked a warrior. Mazraoui's looked good, and Ugarte is getting better with every game. So it looks like they are making calm, considered, and astute decisions moving forward. And they're even willing to sort of sacrifice a valuable piece for the greater good, i.e. getting rid of Garnacho and potentially Menu, although I think that would be taking it a bit too far. But Rio makes an excellent point as well. He makes an excellent point. The top pros are going to be looking around the training ground, and they're going to be looking at each individual and putting talent to one side for a minute. They're going to be looking at people and thinking, is that person a grafter? Are they putting the effort in? And that's what I've been saying for months now, and that's what all Manchester United fans want, is that they want to see the players graft. That's it. Just graft. If the players graft, then the talent will shine through. What talent that they have will shine through, and the team will get better, and the team will then start picking up points and winning games. Or winning games and picking up points, whichever way around you want. So that's a fantastic point. And it was interesting that, Lado there was, kind of called Rio out a little bit there. He says, well, you got Vidic and Evra wrong. But Rio was like, yeah, but you could see that at the very least they were determined and they wanted to improve. And then obviously they became two of the best defenders in the world for a time. And also two crucial parts, along with Rio and Van der Sar as well, of the defence that has gone the longest amount of minutes in world football history without conceding a goal when they've played together, which is over 1,000 minutes or something like that now. Divide that by 90, that's how many games they didn't concede a goal. And I think that was around 2009. Double check that. I'm sure that's on Wikipedia or somewhere. Type it into your Google machine. So Rio, he makes an excellent point there. I mean, he also, well, obviously he makes the point that recruitment has been terrible. Well, I mean, that's a given. But at the end of the day, when you buy players like Di Maria and you buy players like Alexis Sanchez, who just come off a world-beaten season, I mean, you would make those signings if you were offered a prime Di Maria for 45 million or whatever it is we paid for him, or 65, I think it was. You would pay that. It's like, yeah, absolutely. He just won he just got man of the match in the European Cup final, Champions League final, and he's offered to Man United. It's like, yeah, great. And since he's left Man United, he's went on and won the World Cup. So was Di Maria the problem, or was it Manchester United? So you could say it's recruitment, but before Man United, Di Maria was class, and after Man United, Di Maria was class. So the problem's got to be Man United. What's going on at Man United over the past 10 years for these players to go to the club and then to be crap and then go elsewhere again and be good? Because it used to be the other way around. Players would come to Manchester United, play their best football, and then they'd leave and then they'd just waste away. So it's got to be. It's certainly a rot. It has been a rot in the club. But I'm loving this approach from Omar Barada, where he says, well, if you don't perform within 1-2 seasons max, you are out the door. Out. So, I mean, that's going to take a little bit of time to sort of kick in. So it's worth bearing in mind that this isn't going to be a quick fix, so to speak. And he also says that Amad Diallo and Rio, that is, Amad Diallo and Bruno have been the only good buys, really. Well, I mean, we can go through the team. Martinez has been a good buy. I think that's fair to say. He's had a couple of injuries and that, but I think he's been a good buy. I don't think there's been anything wrong with him. He's a darling of the Stretford end, so yeah, I'm going to add Martinez to that list. Dalot has improved, so we'll keep him there as well. I mean, I want to say Luke Shaw overall, but he's been very injury prone, so it's difficult to put him in there. But when he does play, he's a good player. I mean, Casemiro had one good season, but for the amount of money we paid, I mean, that's not really value for money, really. Bruno, I've already mentioned Bruno. Rashford's already been there. Højlund hasn't really kicked on yet. So, yeah, I mean... Yeah, Ahmad, Bruno, Dalot, and Martinez. Yeah, you know, they've been good buys. Zlatan was a good buy. Zlatan was all right, considering we got him for free. I mean, Lukaku was all right. He scored goals. He was all right. I think he'd do well in this Amorim team. And yeah, cycles. This is not a cycle we're going through. This is a deep dive into the footballing wilderness. But yeah, and finally, Onana. Onana has not been a good buy. Paid 50 million for him, and we replaced a bona fide Manchester United legend. And the way that legend was treated, I mean, I don't think there'd be anyone at the club that would object to Onana being sold and for us to invest whatever money we got for him into buying David De Gea back from Fiorentina. Whether or not David De Gea will come back would remain to be seen, and this is a highly unlikely situation. But the way David De Gea was treated at Manchester United when he was leaving, the way he was treated by Ten Hag and Murtaugh was absolutely shocking. It's not as if he was on his last legs or anything like that. He was loyal to the club. He could have gone to Real Madrid, but he didn't. He's kept Man United from the relegation zone over this past decade. He was an absolutely phenomenal player. And also, yeah, all right, so he had 18 months where his form was off, but so what? So what? He soon picked it back up again. And, you know, be careful what you wish for, you know? Be careful what you wish for, because sometimes you don't realise what you've got until it's gone. So that's all I've got to say on David De Gea. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think there's been anyone that Man United have signed over the past 10 years that actually has been a good signing? If so, please thoughts in comments, because obviously if you've gotten this far in this video, you're clearly interested in my musings about Manchester United, and because of that, I appreciate it and I want to see what your musings are. So anyway, thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.